Hey, I just saw the Beach Boys with Chris Pacard. Just so you know, the Beach Boys right now have the best content. They're literally reading the white paper. You know, that is good job. It doesn't get any better than that. Literally reading it. You know, they had Chris on there, and that was really revealing. Really revealing. Oh my gosh. He's literally, him and even Armory. Armory's definitely understands economics very well. Now, when you do know a subject very well, you could use it to distort the truth or to just rely upon it and follow it. They are now pulling it out. Beach Boys asked them some tough questions, you know, about these controversial op codes, and watched it 3 or 4 times, you know, to get the meat out of what they're actually saying. They're saying, okay, yeah, maybe there wasn't enough time to review, but we're not going to stop adding lines or op codes or different things if people can't come up with the bugs against them. You know, so just to understand, this is the limpness, this is the beginning. They're okay with adding millions of lines of code. I mean, they're not gonna say that right now. It's a gradual thing, you know. And the fact that the miners have the freedom to choose, you know, you got an old rust bucket, you can put down to 2 and 4. Basically they're saying is, well, at 100 gigabytes, you know, some home hardware, blah, 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 might not be okay. And then they use the D word. To me, that's a cuss word. Decentralization. They're all, you know, basically, okay, if you want to be, you know, Apple or Google, you know, or, you know, and not Facebook or Instagram and not have 6 competing things, yeah, it'll be the most valuable thing in the world, but we'll have decentralization. We're not willing to let the miners make that mistake. Miners, remember, they eat their own cooking. This goes back to Australian economics, which they're violating now. They're violating. Just like, you could be rest assured that Federal Reserve will protect the dollar because it's in their interest to. That's really boiling down to a simple thing. But Chris was very, he made a very strong point that he could add script where ABC is not compatible with anything else. Think about what's being said there. The white paper, they're not interested anymore. Just like core. They're asking, well, isn't this built into the protocol of Bitcoin? You know, what if they had 51% of the hash rate? Well, if we don't feel it's, I'm paraphrasing because they're using these beautiful economic terms to hide the truth of what they're saying, I think. So I'll take some poetic license and you shoot me down. Since there might, you know, we're saying 2 or 3 of these big, like SV, it's going to do it professionally. It's going to have, you know, Google grade server farms, and it's kind of going to knock the, you know, the slow guys, the home, you know, even though he'll also say it's running at 3, you know, let's say average. He keeps, when the subject turns, he keeps saying 100, like 100 gigabytes is a problem right now. Okay, I will, to his credit, he does point out the development teams, since they don't have hundreds of millions of dollars at risk, they could do a lot of, you know, crazy, unsafe stuff because they don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars to worry about to make sure it's safe. Okay, that is true. Okay, so they could be wild and crazy. You know, as per the saying, devs will program. Programmers will program. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. No matter how good it is, we're going to try and make it better. I grant you that. Without skin in the game, there's nothing to risk. You could do crazy things, you know. But the fundamentals of economics, which they know, is since these big players that they're, I guess, villainizing, you know, because they have hundreds of millions of dollars in there, will hurt their own pocketbook. You see, what they're trying to avoid is the question everybody's asking. If devs have nothing comparatively, proportionally to risk, how are we assured that they're not going to raise the 21 million? So a preemptive strike, which was smart, was saying, how do we know the people with the most to lose won't raise the 21 million? And the obvious answer is because that would kill their whole investment and their money, because every user would jump ship, you know. But they're not going to mention that. They want the power to do that. To give, this is so consistent, to give power back to the people who've actually paid for it. This is the part that, you know, history is 2020, you know, and this is the reason why. So you could take apart these people and where they went wrong. You know, Unlimited at least is open. They want peace. They want to the best of, you know, onlooker could look, you know. They're not putting out their little jabs. Well, we could add some script, so ABC is king and will control everything. The miners will be subdued to them. You know, they even ran through the scenario, okay, if the professional guys, you know, that keep the security strong, do have the votes, what happens? Well, it's like any politics. We're all for voting until the voting goes against us. And that's what's happening. These opcodes, he didn't even make a case for them. He's just saying, this is our power play. This is where we keep control. If you don't want decentralization, you know, that's a loaded word, right? You know, you're going to end up, yeah, you'll be super rich like Apple and Google that are not decentralized and all those things. But they could call each other on the telephone and say, hey, do you think 30 megabytes is safe right now? And talk amongst themselves. So the reason why they say that is because if they take their first punch, it almost assumes like Unlimited never talks to ABC, and ABC never talks to Classic, you know, all the way around. But that's not true. They know that's not true. So what they do is they say that and say and label it a derogatory, like cartel or whatnot, and assign it to the other person. So now the narrative will be, well, these big players, sure, we grant you that when SV takes it, the price is going to go through the roof. Okay, we understand that, but what about decentralization? If there's only 14 big miners, or let's say they exaggerate, there's only 3 or 4, won't they do what they can to hurt their own huge investment? They're taking Core's lead. You know what I'm saying? Thank goodness that they're going to be shot down, because when it comes to what counts as far as hash power, they're all business people. Business people see right through this bullshit. Before they could spin a web of lies to newbies, in economics at least, and to say Steve Jobs is a hack because he subbed out his code originally to Wozniak or whatever they were saying, and he brought no value since he didn't code as much as the people he hired. I don't know where they're going with that. You know, Armory knows better. You could hire out stuff as long as, you know, Google continues to provide a great service, he's not going to be taking it down. Saying that, you know, Google used code from someone else and didn't do it themselves, or Steve Jobs is just a hack. Economically speaking, you want to hire people that are smarter than yourself. That's bad economics, you know. Roger is a good businessman, even if he doesn't code everything himself. That's such, they even know that, you know. This is all manipulation. They are screaming because at the end of this, what's really happening is we're going back to Satoshi's vision, you know, with only the necessary bug fixes, you know what I'm saying? But the original one, SegWit-free Bitcoin Cash, okay? SegWit-free Bitcoin is Bitcoin Cash. SegWit is trying to take, if they take the ticker sign or the name, if they still, when the VC junkies leave, you know, and then the world capital, which is 1,000 to 10,000x, comes in, they have a different mentality. You know, they're the ones that look long term, 30-year mortgages, 6%, 4%, you know what I'm saying? There's no fancy talk for them. You know, the one with the longest track record of not being hacked gets all the marbles, okay? SegWit-free Bitcoin goes back 8 years. If you have your 10 years, this is the beginning. If you have your wallet from 8 years, it's safe and sound on SegWit-free Bitcoin Cash. SegWit is a hybrid. In other words, once again, as you add code, you can add bugs. You basically, the fact, engineers are going to engineer. Developers are going to develop. They're not going to stop. And the market knows that. They're not going to touch it. Miners don't like it. They're smart enough to know it. But this is disingenuous. Google is not a good company because they don't have enough decentralization. They don't have enough competition. Their product would be, well, the seen and unseen. The product might be better, you know, if there's more competition. But Instagram's doing fine. Twitter's doing fine. Google's doing fine. What world are they living in? It's like saying it has to have a secondary use, you know, because we all learned that in school. What is the US dollar's secondary use? It has no value because some, you know, academia says, sorry, you guys are all wrong. You shouldn't be trading this paper. Granted, it is just paper. I mean, like Roger said, there's no such thing as intrinsic value because it's all in the mind of the, you know, of the humans, which is correct, but that presupposes that it's not in the mind of humans that diamonds are valuable, gold's valuable. So, I'm not saying it's a cop-out because it's true, but it brings you back to the most basic definition, which is the value of anything is the price that you could get from it. You know, it's not ridiculous to think that things have value. Whether the origins of that is because each individual places value on that, granted, I can't fight logic, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's off course. But dang, man, now I understand what these guys are, Craig and CoinGeek and are fighting. It's insidious. Still, I'm not that smart. I can't tell if they're self-deceived or being deceptive. If they're being, either way, history is never going to forget their names. We're in a digital age. This is a new era. Each one of these eras, when you lay it out, makes no sense. When someone gets power, they do not want to release it. Man, history is freaky. Correct, you know what I'm saying? We will raise the hard cap because if we don't, that's less power. Even though we don't have like the hundreds of millions of dollars, we know better than you. Unless you want to, making fun of Steve Jobs is just ridiculous. But anyways, I don't know. Good job, Beach Boys, man. I love your content. Last week, you did the white paper. My heart was so warm. I mean, just That's just the facts going out. Where they lay, how people take it, who cares? Just put out the truth and let it sit where it wants, you know? Dude, triple kudos. Good job, man. You guys are the bomb. Thank you. Peace.